right. Good morning and welcome back to another wonderful day of lowering lawns. But today we're doing hedges and pine straw, so it doesn't apply. Anyway, it is October 30th, the day before Halloween. It has finally stopped raining. It has rained for 4 days and 4 nights, nonstop. Um, and here's the deal. A couple years ago, I put a policy in place. I'll work in the rain. Well, a light rain. And I'll work in the cold. But I will not work in the cold and rain. And it has been cold rain for the last 4 days or so. And that means I've not been working. This was supposed to be my last week of the year for 2025 on, final cuts, final hedge trimming, all that kind of stuff. And then next week I had one cleanup job that I was going to do. And then basically it was going to be leaf cleanups for all winter long. And I was going to chill and take it easy from there. But this kind of weather puts a damper on things, literally. And basically final cuts and hedge trimming cleanups, etc., are going to go into probably the middle of next week, so the first week of November. And then that final cleanup job, I'm going to take a few days rest, and then I'm going to do that cleanup job in the final week of November. Coincidentally enough, I did add a planting job, which I've got all the plants for already, but I need to coordinate it with the homeowners to get the exact planting spot done. But it's been raining, and I'm not gonna have people out standing in the rain with me. I mean, unless they just want to. But typically we'll just wait until the rain stops and then get everything done then. But I'm excited to get that one recorded. There's not much to it. It's clearing the grass, digging the holes, putting pine straw up, and then it's planting basically the exact same methods that I've used in the past, which is the soil amendments, make the hole bigger, backfill and mound up the plants a little bit. So that one's straightforward. In other news, on top of the bad weather, I have some sort of a hand ailment on my right hand now. For the last week, it's been like a dull pain. We're thinking maybe carpal tunnel or some kind of tendonitis or something. It doesn't quite feel like they describe carpal tunnel feeling, but I don't know what it is. It feels like I've pulled a muscle or something in there, because it's right here on the heel of my hand, and then it goes all the way through these middle fingers here, and it goes all the way down my forearm. And it's only really like if I'm pulling, like if I pull with those two middle fingers, that hurts, right? And then if I'm like lifting or maybe that hurts, and like certain like pulling or lifting motions kind of tense that muscle group up. So I've pulled something in here. Thankfully it's not a sharp pain. It's just like a dull constant, like there's no relief, there's no like rest it, there's no like position, you can't like shake off the pain. It's just a constant like dull, just there, and I'm fairly certain it's not a bone issue, because if it was a bone issue, I think that would be a more sharp pain. So hopefully, like, I can make it through the next couple days of hedge trimming and pine straw. It's really bad timing to have an injury like this, because I'm going to be using that hand in a way that will probably escalate that pain a little bit. Like I'm hoping that's not the case, but like it is a risk, and I'll be left-handed for the next who knows how long while it heals up, if it does escalate. But like I say, this hand pain thing is it's kind of frustrating. There was a day, an entire day, where I didn't have any pain, and I didn't do anything because, like I say, it's been raining, and I didn't really do anything with it. I didn't go anywhere, but I'll wake up the next morning and it is absolutely killing me again. So, and the pain is, it does move, like day by day. It feels like it's in a different spot on my hand. It's weird. But again, it's not a sharp pain. My hand's definitely usable. I've probably shouldn't be, but I've been just living normal, and just every so often I go, ah, you know, like I get that little ah, where it tenses up a little bit. But right now I am going to pick up some pine straw, and then we're going to go and start a job where I dropped the bells, some of my bells off a couple days ago, because I was going to work a couple days ago, and then it started pouring as soon as I got there, and I was just like, no, I'm not dealing with it. But yeah, that's the elements and hindrances of the week, and I think it sucks to be delayed, because I was really looking forward to this being our last week. But when the conditions are like they are, you know, I was going to do this job that I'm about to go to now, and as soon as I got there, I saw just standing water in the beds, in the flower beds that I was going to be working in. I was like, well, crap, like it's the only one that I could probably get away with doing in the rain, but it's raining so much, there's no chance I'm going to do it today. So, you know, we'll get there today, and I'm sure there'll be a little bit of water still, but there's only one way to find out. Let's get there. All right, so I had a little epiphany while I was out on the way here, and that epiphany was in the last cleanup. You should see on this, you know, trimming some roses, and they had some thicker branches. A week or two ago, I lost my pruning shears, and I've been using these fine cut scissors, right? When I use it, I cut like this, you know. It's just sort of, whether it's right or not, all of my strength goes into those fingers, and that is exactly where my hand pain is from. I think it's using these on those thicker branches. So went ahead and stopped and picked up these steel pruners, P70. You can see the price. They're very expensive. They're all metal all the way throughout the handle, and it's supposed to be a very strong steel blade. So I'll be using those today. I'm 99% sure that's what my issue is, because I was thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute, that's exactly how I cut, you know, kind of like that when I get in there. Exactly what my pain is. So hopefully that solves that issue. Now we got another issue that we're trying to solve, and it's windy, so bear with me. Straw should be very vibrant. It should be very noticeable up against this old lawn straw. And me standing here looking at it, it most certainly is not very vibrant. So I went to another dealer and I got 20 extra bales over here, and unfortunately they look about the same. Let's just take a bell out and set it up. And granted, these on the wall here are wet because they've been left out, but these look about the same, you know, and that's not a good thing. So looking back at old pictures and photos and videos of pine straw installations. I noticed the pine straw that I'm getting in the last 2 years has not been anywhere near as vibrant and colorful and long lasting. It literally loses its color within like 2 months, whereas we used to get like 6 months out of a pine straw installation, which is why we switched to pine straw, because you get color, you don't get the mold and fungus issues that you get with mulch, and you get a lot less maintenance with weeds. But with this new stuff that is just not as good a quality, we're not getting that out of it. So I've got two options. I can either go out of town and buy it from other suppliers, which is like a minimum of 40-minute drive no matter where I go to get it from, or I can just switch everyone back over to mulch starting now, which sucks. But if it looks like this and I'm not getting that color benefit, which is the whole purpose, it might be worth it. All right, and here we go. We are moving out the edge pine straw. I always do that one on this one just because whenever you go to tuck it, it just looks a little bit cleaner. Sometimes with your fresh pine straw layers, what ends up happening is you don't get enough breakdown throughout the year, and on the edges you go to blow out you go to tuck in your pine straw, and the new stuff rolls under the old stuff, and it leaves a weird choppy edge. So I always do this in certain areas where I know that's going to be an issue, because I can get a much cleaner, sharper tucked edge on that. And I always just do that with the pine straw. A lot of people, the pitchfork. Sorry, I always do that with the pitchfork, the way I was showing you in the video, because I feel like the pitchfork is so underrated and so underutilized. Everyone's out there with rakes and stuff. Dude, the pitchfork can do so much more than just moving mulch. If you know how to use the thing, it's got a lot of utility. Alright, and right here we're going to put out these 2 new bales of pine straw. Not the roll. The roll of pine straw was actually part of the customer's fall decoration. He did let us take it and use it. So I don't like the rolls myself personally, but let's see how this looks. Alright, so I've got to say, between the two, honestly the first batch looks a little bit better to me, but it is wet. And this new stuff, the very expensive $6 bales, it doesn't look much different than the old. Yeah, I guess we're sticking with our normal supplier, man. Alright, so hopefully you saw that line there between those two, the old and the new bale. I can definitely see it, but I'm very particular, and I know what I'm looking for. Alright, so working on this hedge, you'll notice a lot of holes. And I think I mentioned this in the video, but they had the parking lot top coated, sealed, and that hot tar machine rubbed up against this and left a lot of dead spots. And I'm pretty sure it's on its way out, but those holes are from cutting out all the dead limbs. And there's a little bit of stuff filling in, but it's slow. Now this hedge, you'll notice the shape is lopsided. And it has always been that way. And you're going to ask, why don't I just fix the right side and make it look the same as the left side? Well, I could absolutely do that, but the issue with this is that the sun is behind the building, way in the back, and this particular hedge doesn't really get any sunlight. That's why it's actually thin here throughout the middle.
So I could certainly cut that right side and even everything out, make it look really, the same. But you do risk having just a bare side of the hedge, and I would rather have some leaves than risk a bare hedge. Alright, and here we go with pretty much one of my, if not the most profitable tool I have, the combi system. If you don't have one, you have to get it, because it is no joke the probably single most profitable tool. I'm able to trim up this whole thing without a ladder, straight from the ground, and I don't even have the extension in it. This is just the combi head and the trimmer attachment, the articulating trimmer attachment. It is expensive. It is a big upfront cost, but I've got a KM131 that I've used for I think 6 or 7 years, and it still runs. The one in the video is a KM111. The reason I'm not using my old KM131 is the pull string broke, and I've not had time to fix it, so I went to my backup. Literally, I bought this KM131 like 2 years ago, thinking that old I bought the KM11 like 2 years ago, thinking that the KM131 was going to break down because it was so old, but then it just kept running and running until this year we finally had that issue, which it's just a pull string. It's not even the engine or anything like that. So you're going to hear me say this a lot in upcoming videos. Used equipment in 2026 is the way to go. Equipment maintenance is huge. It's everything. Trust me, you're going to hear me talk about that in future videos. And look at that shape, all nice and round. And I didn't even get on a ladder. Dude, I'm telling you, the combi is so underrated. I don't even have the pole attachment on there. Alright, so this is one of my favorite hedges to do here. It just always turns out just right. And you'll see this one does get sunlight, because the sunlight comes, if you're looking at the screen now, it's like to my left. The sun comes up to my left and then goes over to my now left as I went around the video. But this one just gets so much fuller, and it's very well established. They didn't get to it with the seal coat parking lot machine, and just look at that shape. Nice and clean and tight. Which is weird, because almost directly after doing this job, I do another hedge trimming job. And my hedge trimmers... Oh wait, no. Actually, in 2 or 3 weeks from now, I'm doing a cleanup, which will be in one of the next few videos. And... there's so many videos I get them mixed up, but my hedge trimmers are in that video not cutting well, but here these are just perfect. And again, with the equipment maintenance thing, these hedge trimmers that you're seeing in the video, this is like a 4-year-old machine, and it just runs and it just works. It's got a few hiccups. The carburetor bowl, the float needle doesn't work, so it floods the engine. So I have to really crank it, and I haven't had time to fix that yet. But once I get the flood out, it does run. So here we go. I am doing all the little limbs and leaves on these crepe myrtles. One thing on these the dwarf variety crepe myrtles, they're always going to put out a little bit of suckers and stuff. You'll notice my why we don't top crepe myrtle video. I mentioned suckers, and that's really really pertinent to the full size 20-foot crepe myrtles. The dwarf varieties are always going to have some suckers at the base because they're like a cross between the shrub type crepe myrtle and the tree type crepe myrtle. So they're kind of part of their genetics is that suckers at the bottom. So you're going to have to clear those out a little bit more. But these 20-foot variety, you shouldn't be doing too many cuts on the tree trunks. This one in this particular video is on its way out. It is actually, the top is mostly dead. It really needs a huge corrective prune or a cut down. Like, see this dead limb right in front of me? That dead goes all the way up into the canopy, and maybe you'll see a shot of that coming up in the next little bit. Alright, and so maybe right now in particular you can notice the color of the new stuff is really not that much more vibrant than the old stuff. And the old stuff was put out in the spring, so it was put out in like March, April-ish. The thing about that is it is now October 30th in this video. And the new stuff looks about the same, maybe a little bit better, but it's about the same as the old stuff. And that's not good. You know, your pine straw, the thing that makes it nice is that super vibrant, like saturated orange. And these guys are labeling it as long needle, high quality pine straw. But the thing about it is your high quality long needle pine straw, it does spread differently too. It's really fluffy and smooth in the tuck. Whenever you do tuck it, like you're about to see in this video, on a true proper high quality long needle that's fresh, it just rolls so nicely and so smoothly. But this older stuff that they're giving me in lieu of it, you can kind of see these little ridges almost, and it's just something about it. You know, maybe I'm just doing it wrong right now, but I get it to look good regardless. You know, I work with what I've got, and it doesn't look bad per se. I just know, looking back at old videos and looking back at old pictures, this is not the same stuff that we were getting 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago. It's definitely a lower quality, but it is passable. I mean, I guess that's something, right? Alright, rolling into the back of the property here. This whole fence line and the hedges and stuff I put in a couple of years ago. This fence is actually a no-dig fence, and it's really cool. It's just got these metal posts, and you hammer them in with a post driver and line up your pickets and everything. It goes up real quick and real easy, and it looks great. The plant here before, or the fencing here before, was just a big old hedge of overgrown ligustrum and just really kind of unhealthy. Just didn't look great, you know. So this is a huge improvement for this back area, and it makes both them and the business here to the right, it gives them a much better visual, you know. Alright, here we go, doing the last little bit of tucking on the pine straw. We're going to blow out the entire parking lot, because all sorts of little stuff just kind of works its way out into the concrete. And then, like everything, we're going to finish it all up with a mow to just make everything pop and extra crisp and clean. Anytime I do a cleanup, I do a free mow afterwards, just to, like I say, make everything that you just did in your cleanup stand out and make it look, you know, just tip top with a nice clean lawn, sharp edges, make everything right. But that's it for this one. I really appreciate you watching, and we are on to the next video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know, and please subscribe.